This video is made possible by Angelspit's Patreon. Members of our Patreon have been blessed with eternal life and promised riches beyond their wildest dreams after they release their life force to us. Join Angelspit's Patreon and become a child of light forever. And get a new track and a new video each month. Arpeggiators can be a powerful tool or a very dull, overused cliche. If mistreated, they can sound like the sonic equivalent of beige wallpaper in an accountant's office. Burn. In this blipvert, we're going to play with a whole bunch of different ways to create an arpeggiating pattern and hopefully inspire you to create something new, fun, and awesome. The more color, variety, and randomness, the more interesting the arpeggiating pattern and less like beige accountant wallpaper. I first fell in love with the arpeggiator by playing with the Emax Mark I keyboard. God, I love the Emax. Its arpeggiator is pretty standard, but at the time it was pretty advanced. You can play chords. You can change the arpeggiator shape. Up. Down. Up and down. And random. You can also add octaves. And add chords. Crazy. You can also have glide, plus add the amount of notes that are actually played within each beat. So if you're holding down 2 fingers, it'll play 2 notes. If you're playing down 3 fingers, it'll play a triplet. You can sync the arpeggiator from the Emax's internal clock, from a MIDI clock, or from analog clock. Often an arpeggiator plays straight chords, but let's try something new. We're going to play with an arpeggiating pattern that's based on all the notes in the chord structure in the verse. Let's say the notes in the verse are C minor to E flat minor. Sexy. What we're going to do therefore, if you combine those notes, you're going to have C, E flat, G, and in E flat minor, you're going to have B flat, E flat, G flat. So if you put them all together, you're going to have that. So the arpeggiating pattern is going to sound like this. So the cool thing about that is it's creating tension, but there are notes in common all the way through it, but there's also clashing notes, so it's kind of cool. Tension is good. But if we wanted to do something at the end to kind of lift the dynamic of it, we can go to playing a straight arpeggiated chord pattern over the literal chords. So it's going to be like this. So at the end of the song, it's just going to spell everything out. Cool. And this is going to add a really nice lift to the dynamics. Another thing you can do is as the song progresses, you can move the notes up the keyboard. So it'll sound a bit like this. So first the B flat's going to go higher. Then the C's going to go higher. Then the E flat's going to go higher. Then the F sharp goes higher. And it's weaving its way up the keyboard as the song progresses. So it's adding energy to the song. So now we're going to move over to the modular and we're going to explore different ways to build the shape and the dynamics and introduce more random, because when it comes to shape, dynamics, and randomness, you cannot beat a modular synthesizer. Let's go. Woo! Welcome to the modular side. Okay, first thing to do to build the dynamic, change the length of the decay. Yes, that dynamic is building now. Or we can also do the actual frequency. Cool. Another thing we can do is play with the filter. Really simple stuff. And while we're there, we're going to play with the resonance as well. Good fun. Now, low-pass filters are commonly used. This one's a low-pass filter. I'm using the Dopefill 106-6 Extreme filter, and it's got a whole bunch of different filters on it. For example, right now we're hearing a 4-pole low-pass. Another type of filter that always gets overlooked is the bandpass. Bandpass filters are great, and they're awesome because a low-pass filter has got a whole bunch of low frequencies that you're going to end up EQing out anyway. A bandpass is just that one area, so it does all the EQing for you. Awesome. Another real fun one is a high pass. Really cool, really usable filter. No one ever uses high passes. They're so cool. Bam! We're going to create a random arpeggiating pattern. And it's random. I got to tell you, it's random. We're going to be using the A149-1, which is a randomizing thing. And also the A156, which is a quantizing thing. We're going to get to that one in a minute. So first, this is what we got. That's random. So what's happening is that this guy, the A149 randomizing thing, is creating random voltages. And at the moment, we've got it patched into the oscillator, and the oscillator is going, cool, thanks, random voltages. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tame it a bit, because it's got... There you go, more tame. I can actually control how much random. Lots of random. Only a bit of random, but we're going to go in the middle. There you go. Middle random. I can also patch that into the filter, and I'm going to do that later because it's good fun. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm now going to patch in the A156 quantizer. Yes, I do know these by heart. It's just that I'm very camera shy. Or something. How does this thing work again? I have no idea. Hold on, what the fuck do I do? Oh my god, what do I do? Control voltage out. Oh my god, is going into the control voltage in. Oh, wow, what a difference. Now what's happening is that's actually quantizing it to notes. So all the 12ths, it's quantizing it to the little black and white notes. I'm getting technical now. Getting technical. And what it does is it snaps random anything at all into one of the 12ths. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick a magic switch. It's a magic switch. And I'm going to tell it to only play all notes that fit into the minor notes. So it's going to pick 3 notes, those 3 root, minor, third, fifth. And whatever the random voltages is, it's going to snap it into either a root, a minor third, or a fifth. And I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to add a 7th. Cat. Bam! This is being synced. Everything is being synced to the clock, and the clock's on the 16th, so everything is doing its thing on the 16th. Technical terms. Technical terms. Now, one other thing we can do here that's really cool is we can actually take a random thingy and plug it into the filter. There you go, it's pretty random. Cool, that's random notes, random quantizing, random filter, and random cat. Can you dance to that? I have meow meow. Now, we're going to use an analog sequencer to create an arpeggiating pattern. This here is the analog sequencer. This is a dope for A155. It's 2 8-step analog sequencers. It's really simple, but really, really fun and really handy. This thing is, I love this thing. It's also got an A154 controller sequencer controller thing. And what this thing does is it lets it move backwards and forwards, but I want to show you that in a sec. Okay, so what's going on now is that this is the top line. See the top line here? You can see the little lights following it around. It's so much good fun. It is driving the oscillator. So I can sit here and make a really cool little pattern. It's so cool. And then I can twiddle this knob, because I love that knob. And I love that filter. This is the dope for A102. It's the diode filter. Love it. I love it. So next, we're going to use the A156 quantizer again. Remember, its job is to get all these random notes, because actually at the moment, the sequencer is not outputting notes. It's outputting random voltages. And what the quantizer is going to do is it's going to lock those into actual notes. So it will sound like this. There you go. That's now playing any of the 12 notes. But once again, I'm going to say you can only play minor in the minor scale. So that's the root, the minor third, and the fifth. So whatever those random voltages are, they are being locked into root, minor third, fifth. They're being quantized. And I'm wearing my Baal shirt because Baal are awesome. So, as I was saying before, one thing we can do here is we can actually change the direction. As you can see, this is called a pendulum. It's playing forward and then back. But what I can do is I can say, only play forward. Or only play backward. Or the pendulum. Or it can actually do this other really cool thing, which is a random. So it's now randomly playing. But I can do something else really cool. And that is I can control this. I can control it using an LFO, or I can control it using absolutely anything at all. So what's going on now is I've got a really slow LFO, slowly more voltages, less voltages, more really slow. And I'm feeding it into the sequencer controller. And what that's doing, just show you I can hear, it's slowly changing all of the different cats that it can do. It can go forward cat, backward cat, or random cat. In this situation, it's loud cat, who is now standing on my keyboard controller. Why? The world loves you. We have worshipped you for thousands of years. Okay, so she has just wrecked something. What did you do? I know, life's cruel. Anyway, back to whatever the hell it is we were doing. Another really cool thing. What did you do? Right, there you go. Yeah, wow, you broke it. You broke my sequencer. How did you do that? Anyway, welcome back. So both of these two sets of 8 steps, they will always sync to each other. So you can't have them running out of time, which is kind of a bit of a bummer because sometimes you want to do that, but not today, or ever. Because you've been bad and Santa's not coming, Krampus is coming. Now we have this cool little melody thing that's happening, sequence thing that's happening, and it's being quantized and it's only playing minor notes. All the notes in a minor chord are being played. Only being played. And another really cool thing I'll just point out as well is that you can control the first and last notes. So you can say that it only goes for 4 notes, or it only goes for 7 notes, or it goes for all 8 notes. And once again, you can control that with an LFO or whatever. There you go, we're on 6, we're on 4, we're on 3, we're on 2, we're on 1. 1 note, 2 notes, 3 notes, 5 notes, 6 notes, 7 notes, up to 8 notes. So it's depending on what the LFO is telling it, it's going through to change all those note lengths, which is pretty cool. And it's also really cool because you can do that and you can actually start notching the sequence 1/16 out of the bar every time you play it. And doing stuff like that creates a really nice tumbling kind of sequence thing. So another fun thing to try with an arpeggiator or a sequencing arpeggiated pattern is only make it 7 or make it 15. Make it knock itself out, sticking to the 16th, but it's going out of sync. It's notching itself out each time it clocks around. Try that. One really cool thing we can do now is we can transpose the sequence. And I'm going to transpose it from my little controller keyboard. So one thing I can do is I can control the oscillator. So it's going to keep playing that sequence, but it's just going to notch it up. Oh yeah. So that's still playing the same sequence of those notes, but it's transposing it. But another really cool thing we can do, instead of transposing it at the oscillator so the whole thing moves, I'm going to transpose it at the quantizer. So it's taking all of those notes and it's going to then force them into different areas. So instead of it might have been playing a or a C, 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 C before, it's going to be pushing itself down to a B flat. Because there's not enough voltage coming out of there to push it into a C. So this is really cool because the sequence begins to morph itself into the song more. It's not playing the same thing but higher. It's spreading the notes out and it's kind of putting them into different areas. Try that. Cool, fun thing. So another thing I'm going to do is I'm now going to take an output from the A149 randomizer thing, and this is octaves. So now what it's doing is it's throwing in random octaves. That's a full octave. So instead of the line being like this, it's going to be like this. And I'm actually throwing in like up to 3 octave leap. So that's really cool fun. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that octave variance thing and I'm going to add it to the filter. So that's now throwing in random amounts to the filter per octave. So another really popular thing with an arpeggiating or sequence is delay, because it's awesome fun. And it sounds like this. So this is just the signal. This is the delay. Spacey. So there's another really cool thing about this step sequencer, and that is you can turn on and off notes as the sequence is going. So I'm just going to turn off a couple of these notes. So now when you put the delay in, there's some room. Awesome. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to introduce something that's turning on the delay and turning it off. The delay I'm using is a really old Korg SDD1000. It's from like 1982. And it's awesome because you can do this. So this is just the delay. You can do that. Hear that? It's moving the pitch. So it's got its own LFO that's slowly lifting the pitch up, slowly bringing the pitch down, and you can actually speed that up. So when you put it in context, there's this slow thing that's throwing it out. There, you hear that? That's kind of cool. Now I'm going to take some of them out. So I'm just going to Mute a couple of notes. Awesome fun. Okay, so the next cool thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a random gate, and that gate is going to open and close that delay. And to make life more fun, do you remember that weird pitch thing on the delay? I'm going to turn that up a bit. Okay, so this is just the delay through the gate. So you're going to hear it all intermittently. And I'm using, to do this, I'm using the Disting Mark IV. So now we hear the original arpeggiator / sequence, because I don't know if it's a arpeggiator or a sequence anymore. And the delay. It's so random in here in my head. Not only playing with delay, but also turning some of the delays off so there's room to breathe. Good fun. Bam! Welcome back to the cacophony. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to play with ring modulation. And a ring modulator is really good fun. It basically takes the frequencies of one signal and adds them to the frequencies of the next signal. So they're going to end up with a higher note. Some take them in the middle, like they'll take the difference and output the difference. But the one we're going to use is going to take 100 cycles plus 300 cycles, so it's going to output 400 cycles. Good fun. What I've got going on right now is I've got the sequence now coming off two oscillators, and they're both audio frequency generator by Livewire. Best, or a damn fine oscillator, I will say at least. So that's what they sound like. Totally random. So what I've got going on is one of them, that one, is only the minor notes. No, that one's the minor notes. And that's everything. That's everything. That's unquantized. That's quantized. So, what we're going to do is we're going to patch this into the ring modulator. And I need to get back into ring modulation because I just stopped using it for a while. Maybe I became a bored man. And I went, no more ring modulation for me. Devo use a lot of ring modulation. It's awesome. Oh my God, what does this sound like? Wow. That's really cool. So what you're hearing here are two tones being added together, but one of them is coming out of the quantizer. The ring modulator is getting two notes that are slightly off. Actually, in this case, they might be a little more than just slightly. They might be quite a bit off. And that's why it's getting that kind of torn frequency sound to it. That's really cool. That's really cool. So here's a random question. If I add this guy here, that's cool. So what that's done is that's now added a top octave. That's throwing in a random octave off the A149. Anytime you start messing around with the octaves, you're going to get some really cool results. That's cool. Anyway, so this is it. I hope this has inspired you to push your arpeggiators and do something new with arpeggiators. I hope this has inspired you. I hope you feel inspiration to like try something different with arpeggiators and sequence patterns. Because even in this one, you hear it's messy, there are notes in there. It is playing homage to the notes. So it's all about having fun, being open to mistakes, and being welcoming of randomness, because randomness makes for interesting music. So do mistakes, because mistakes are awesome. Keep making your music, keep pushing the envelope, and keep having fun, because this is fun. Rock.